Hello and welcome to my science tutorials. In today's video, we want to look at how to square a square root sign. Now, without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with a simple example. Let's say we have root a. Now, per the laws of indices, root a simply means a raised to the power half. Now, if we are to square this root sign, what is going to be our answer? Now, if we have root a and then we square this simply means that root a is raised to the power 2. Now we establish over here, let me make this equation 1. We establish at equation 1 that root a means a raised to the power half. So it means what I have in the bracket is a raised to the power half multiplied by 2 at the top. Now this is equal to a raised to the power half multiplied by 2 at the top, because this is our base. The a is our base. So we now have a raised to the power half multiplied by 2 is 1, or you can have 2 over 2, which is equal to a raised to the power 1. And a raised to the power 1 is equal to a. Any number raised to the power 1 is the same number. So this means that if we square a root sign, we get the same number in the root. We just get that number without the root sign. So let's go ahead and have a look at an example. Okay, so if we have, let's say for instance, we have root 3 all squared, what is going to be our answer? Now root 3 squared, from here straight away, from the previous explanation that I gave, means the answer is equal to 3. But what if you've been asked to show it using the laws of indices, or using indices, show that the root of 3 squared is 3? Now this is what you do. You write your root 3 all squared, and then you establish the fact that 3 raised to the power half is equal to root 3, and then you square that. So this means that you have 3 raised to the power half multiplied by 2, and that will give you 3 raised to the power 2 on 2, which is the same as 3 raised to the power 1, and this is equal to 3, as you estimated at the beginning over here. So 3 is our answer. Now let's have a look at another example. So from the explanation I just gave, it's obvious that whenever we square a root sign, we get the number in the root without any further calculation. So let's look at a simple example. Let's say we have root 15 squared. Now without thinking, root 15 squared is equal to 15 straight away. What if we have root 100 squared? Root 100 squared is equal to 100, because the square here will cancel the root sign, so you only have 100. Now let's have a look at if we are to square something that has multiple variables in a bracket. Let's look at how we do something like that. Okay, so assuming we have, for example, a multiplied by root b all squared, how are we going to solve this? Now if we look at this, we realize that the a and the root b are in a bracket and they're multiplying each other. Now using BODMAS, we know that if we want to solve any calculation, we first of all start with the b over here, which is bracket. So it means if our equation has any bracket, let's do that first. Then this is of, this is division, this is multiplication, this is addition, and this is subtraction. So using the understanding that we just had from BODMAS, it means that the first thing we need to do is to tackle what is in the bracket, which in this case, everything in the bracket is being squared. So this means we have our answer to be a squared multiplied by root b squared. So this becomes our answer. Now if we clearly understood what the explanation I just gave over here, let's have a look at an example. So let's assume we have for example, let's say we have 10 root 2 squared. What is going to be our answer? 10 root 2 squared means that we have 10 multiplying root 2 and all of them is squared. So it implies we have 10 squared multiplied by root 2 squared. Now, you know that 10 squared is 100, and then root 2 squared, this will cancel this, so you only have 2 over here. So you have 100 multiplied by 2, and that will give you 200 as your answer. Let's have a look at another example. Say we have 5 root 3 squared. This is equal to 5 squared multiplied by root 3 squared. This means we have 5 squared is 25 multiplied by root 3 squared will give us just 3. And then if we multiply 25 by 3, we are going to get 75. So 75 becomes our answer. So this is simply how we solve or how we square a square root sign to get our answer. Now let me further explain one tricky thing that you may find. If you are not too careful, you might get that wrong. Let me quickly explain that. All right, say we have, let's say, a into bracket b root c squared. How are we going to solve this problem? Now, if you look at this very well, even though a, b, and root c are multiplying each other, you realize that a is secluded. A is not included in the bracket, so the square which is affecting the b and c will not affect the a. So this our answer from here is going to be a multiplied by b squared root c squared. Root c squared. This is going to be our answer. Note that the square is not affecting the a because it is not in the bracket. So let's have an example, a very simple example to actually appreciate the example that I just explained here. So let's say we have 2 into bracket 4 root 2 squared. So if this is your question and you have to find an answer, this is equal to, you still maintain your 2 over here, then into bracket you now have the square will affect the 4, so it becomes 4 squared multiplied by root 2 squared. From here you still maintain your 2. You know 4 squared is 4 times 4, and 4 times 4 is 16 multiplied by root 2 squared is equal to 2. So from here you have 2 into bracket 16 times 2, that will give you 32, and then 32 multiplied by 2 will give you 64. So 64 becomes your final answer in case you are to solve the example 2 outside bracket into bracket 4 root 2 squared. So thank you so much for watching. This is how we square a square root sign, and this is how we simplify problems on squaring a square root sign. So thank you so much for